up, peeps? My name is David. Today is Thursday, and welcome back to another brand new Buzzfeed versus test. The last time I did a video like this was the mac and cheese BLT versus the ramen BLT, and you guys liked that format so much that I had to do it for a second time. Except this time around, I'm gonna be putting the mozzarella stuffed chicken parmesan up against the chicken parmesan stuffed garlic bread. Two very similar recipes, so again, it only makes sense that I do them in the same video and see which one was easier and ends up tasting better. Hope you guys enjoy this one, and let's get into the first recipe. So guys, today the first recipe we're going to be trying is the mozzarella stuffed chicken parm. The ingredients you're going to need is some oil to fry in, some marinara sauce, some flour, breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, salt, some eggs, and then a bunch of chicken breasts, which were too big to fit in the frame. The first thing you gotta do is to grab your chicken breasts, and I like to shave some of the fat off. You don't have to, I would definitely recommend it though. Once you got it all cleaned up, you're going to slice it right on the side, which I believe is called a butterfly cut. Don't quote me on that. The important thing though is to only cut about halfway into it, because if you go too far, it's just going to be a pain during the whole cooking process. The next thing you have to do is to coat every single nook and cranny of your chicken with some coarse salt. Follow the salt up with a big handful of your shredded mozzarella cheese, try to pinch it back together, and then repeat the same process for however many other chicken breasts you want to make. I am going to be doing 4 today. Next up, we have to prepare our egg, our flour, and our breadcrumbs in order to give these a nice coating before we fry them. Give me a minute while I try to remember how many recipes I've had to use this method of coating and frying for. All I know is it's a lot. During this process, it was also kind of a pain to keep them close together and to not let a bunch of the cheese fall out. So just do the best you can. It's alright if you lose a little bit here or there. And your end goal is gonna be for them to look like this. The next thing you're going to want to do is go over to your stove, grab yourself a pan with a bunch of oil, let it heat up, and we can start cooking. Since these chicken breasts are so humongous, I only was able to fit one at a time in there. I gave them a couple minutes on both sides, and remember, they don't have to be cooked all the way through because we're going to finish them off in the oven later. So once I got every side of all 4 of my chicken breasts nice and browned, I threw them to the side and we could prepare our pan. I grabbed myself a glass pan, threw down a couple cups of my marinara sauce, and then followed that with the chicken. A couple more scoops of sauce on top, with a generous sprinkle of your Parmesan cheese, and then some fresh parsley and basil. Finally, we can throw them into a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes, and I am very happy with the way these things came out. Without scalding my hand, I grabbed one and threw it on a separate plate. I tried to cut it open, and alright, not too bad. I don't see a ton of the cheese in the middle. I think most of it kind of seeped out already, but it still looks pretty dang delicious. So this is one of those recipes that I kind of know almost exactly what it's going to taste like, and there's no way it could taste bad. I'm kind of checking more so for if it's cooked all the way through and how all the ingredients are layered and stuff like that. So that's some good stuff. Chicken is cooked perfectly. It's nice and tender. It's not dry at all. Even though the breading on the bottom is kind of a little soggy, it still tastes great, and the top stayed nice and crispy. My biggest complaint though is the cheese. The majority of it either melted out or just disappeared somewhere, and that kind of defeats the purpose of doing all those steps at the beginning of slicing it up and then stuffing it with cheese. The bit that's left in there is still really good though. It is a lot of work, but you do end up with a lot of food and a really good meal out of it, so 9 out of 10. The second recipe we're going to be trying today is the chicken parm stuffed garlic bread, and the ingredients you're going to need is also some oil to fry in, some more flour and breadcrumbs, some more marinara sauce, some slices of mozzarella cheese, a couple of eggs, and a nice big French bread. So exactly like the last recipe, I started with grabbing a chicken breast and trying to clean up some of the fat on it. And instead of cutting it from the side, this time I cut it into slices just like that. Mainly because we're going to need nice thin pieces of chicken to fit inside of the French bread. Once again, I grabbed the flour, egg, and breadcrumb bowls and gave each and every piece of chicken a generous coating in all of them. You guys know the drill by now. First the flour, then the egg, then the breadcrumbs. Take your time with this. The more thorough you are, the better they're going to end up coming out. And we can now jump right over to the stove again with our hot oil. And throw about 4 or 5 pieces of chicken at a time. Since these are so much thinner, they're gonna cook much quicker than the big pieces we had before. They only need a couple minutes on both sides. You'll be able to get a good sense of when they're brown and cooked all the way through. Unlike the last ones, these aren't gonna cook too much in the oven, so you want these most of the way cooked through already. And we can start preparing our bread. So I grabbed the whole loaf and cut that into 4 equal segments, then grabbed one at a time and tried to hollow out the middle. You could take a smaller sharp knife and go in from both sides, just be careful not to sever a piece of your finger off. Just leave a thick enough coating around the outside so the bread can support the weight of the chicken in it. The very last thing you have to do is to cut each segment up into 3 smaller pieces, and then make up a small butter garlic mixture on the side. The ingredients for that was some tablespoons of melted butter, a couple cloves of minced garlic, some finely cut up parsley, and then some more grated cheese. Mix that all together and then give a nice coating across the entire span of your bread. Wrap it up snugly in your tin foil and then throw that into a 350-degree oven for 20 minutes as well. 20 minutes later, this thing came out looking beautiful, in my opinion. Nice and crispy all the way across. This is gonna give the last recipe a serious run for its money. Ladies and gents, I'm excited for this one. Although it's extremely hot, so if you make this, proceed with caution. But that chicken is amazing. That bread with the garlic butter.
What was that? Did you fall?
Uh-huh.
How'd you fall?
I slipped. Mom, filming! As I was saying, this is delicious. The bread's nice and crispy. The garlic butter is absolutely fire. Chicken's cooked perfect. There's plenty of cheese in there. No complaints at all. 10 out of 10. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's second ever Buzzfeed versus test. If you did, smash a like on this one for me as always. I wanted to mention this at the beginning, but I actually forgot. For those of you who haven't seen, recently I've been releasing the video a day or two early for everyone who's following me on my Twitter. So if you're not, go over there and follow me so you can get some VIP access to these videos. I don't do it with every single video, but recently I've been doing it more and more, so head on over there now if you want to go see them. I'll leave the link to that as well as my Instagram down in the description below, and I hope you have an absolutely awesome rest of your week. I'll see you right back here on Sunday. Peace!